Let's talk about the first 100 days of Modi government. It's 99 today, it's going to be 100 tomorrow. Mr. Deosthalee, Chairman and Managing Director of L&T Finance, joins us now. Mr. Deosthalee, good morning and thank you for joining us. How would you rate the government performance in the first 100 days in office? Are you happy, or somewhere you were expecting some more measures?
Several baby steps have been taken, and they are going to have a long-term impact on the growth trajectory of the economy. If you look at some of the important steps, they have done a few things on ease of doing business. So try to simplify a few things, attempted to amend some of the labor laws, although a lot needs to be done in that. Have also simplified some processes, introduced e-governance, have taken e-governance measures for public to be in touch with the government. So there are a number of steps like this which have been taken. Hopefully they will help the business community. The Inspector Raj also has been commented upon. What is being said is that if you really want to do inspection or raid or some of those things, you need much higher level permission than what was required earlier. Similarly, in the case of the labor laws, the powers of the inspectors are being to some extent curbed. So there are a number of steps which have been taken in this particular area, and I think this will help, as the Prime Minister has been saying, that we want to reduce red tape, we want to reduce bureaucracy, we want fast action, decision making. So this should help in that direction going forward. That's number one, if you look at the various things which the government has done.
Mr. Deosthalee, morning. The Supreme Court has already declared coal blocks allocated since 93 as illegal, but final verdict is still pending. What are your expectations on this, and if there is a negative verdict, do you see it impacting industrial activity negatively?
Well, I think it is very difficult for me to comment on this because the matter is being heard by Supreme Court. All the parties are going to represent. I hope that the final verdict may not be as strong as originally thought, and ultimately a solution will emerge. Yes, it is a serious matter because we are talking of a period from 1993 onwards, so I think everybody is aware of it. Industry associations, the power developers, similarly the other entrepreneurs are also representing. So the matter is currently sub judice in the court, so it's not appropriate for me to comment, but I hope that ultimately a long-term good solution will emerge from this.
Right, Mr. Deosthalee, oil prices have come down, but food inflation is still sticky. Is that, and still is a big concern? Do you see some scope of interest rates to come down going forward?
Well, yes, oil prices are coming down, and that's a good thing for Indian economy. On the food inflation front, luckily at least the consumer price inflation has somewhat softened in the recent past. It is around 8%. My take is that given the fact that we have had delayed monsoon but not as bad as one thought, the food prices may not go to the extent to which one was predicting earlier, and therefore if the oil prices remain at these levels or come down further, there is an expectation that they may come down further. In that case, there will be a good opportunity for government to, if at all there is a problem on food front, to import and supplement the domestic production without really impacting the current account deficit or the fiscal deficit issue. So and maintain price levels. In addition to that, there are a couple of things. In the budget, they have made some announcements about import duties and reduced import duties on some core food products. At the same time, banned some of the oil exports. The last point is that there have been some steps which have been announced in terms of traders who do hoardings, and I think that is one area where we can do a lot. Both in terms of distribution of food products as well as curbing these tendencies of hoardings.
Mr. Deosthalee, what's your take then on asset quality going forward, and do you see cash flows of corporates improving moving ahead?
It appears to us that there is some improvement in the sentiment. Some few positive developments have taken place. and therefore we believe that it is a peak. However, we have to also see that the overall economy grows. The liquidity of some of the developers has to improve. The stress in the economy in the infrastructure sector is mainly because of the construction companies which have gone into development of infrastructure, and their liquidity is very stressed. The main reason is that they have not been able to put in equity to their pending projects. A lot of money was stuck with government departments, and I think that needs to be released, which hopefully will help the improvement of liquidity situation for some of these infra companies. But more than that, I think if the government starts awarding new EPC contracts, particularly in the road sector, that will help the situation in the near to medium term. So what I am trying to say is that yes, there has been a stress in the last couple of years. It appears that now the stress over a period of time will come down. It is not likely to come down so quickly. My estimate is that the stress may not go up further, but for the situation to ease, it will take at least next 6 to 12 months time. After that, we will see slowly things stabilizing, and mainly the construction companies coming back to some extent to normalcy.
Price volume breakouts have kicked in, and it's HUL first, 739.6 rupees of HUL. HUL is not going to give you a 10% swing, but the trend is positive for HUL. And the other one is Asian Paints. That stocks needs no introduction. It's a favorite with fund managers, retail investors, HNI investors. Irrespective of when you've bought Asian Paints in last 10 years, you've always made money because the stock is sitting at a record high. Eicher Motors is up by about 283 rupees. So second day on the trot now. Eicher Motor is looking strong. And Monsanto locked up yesterday, now trading above 3,000. So that one is looking strong. But the story of the day, it's turning out to be the consumer space, or the consumer staple space, so to speak, because both HUL and Asian Paints are trending up very smartly. Mr. Deosthalee, the government is also keen on deregulating diesel, and they're trying to bring subsidies down both in LPG and kerosene. Do you think that will help us ease the fiscal deficit, and do you think that will also give some elbow room for government to increase their expenditure?
I personally think that that's not going to happen. In our opinion, the earlier fears of government managing its fiscal deficit, whether they will be able to manage at 4.1% level, which is what was announced in the budget. It appears to us that particular achievement or that situation is somewhat eased now, mainly because of 2-3 reasons. One is Reserve Bank of India has a lot of surplus which they have given to the government. I do believe that the government will go ahead with some of the disinvestment programs, because the market is helping them, the equity markets are holding up, and for good quality stocks there will be not much of a pressure in terms of divestment. On the expenditure side, the government has now, it appears to be serious on expenditure control. So the expenditure commission has been formed, and I think they are likely to submit their report by December or so. Yes, it is a fact that in the first 4 months the government has exceeded on the expenditure front, whereas on the income side there has been a shortfall. But looking at these aspects, it appears.
Right. Mr. Deosthalee, finally, do you see GDP growth picking up, and in the coming months, what do you think should be the top 2 or 3 priorities that the Modi government should work on?
Yes, it is expected that post monsoon that the activity in the economy should pick up. It is not likely that it is going to pick up with a big bang, but slowly things should look up. There are two priorities in my opinion for a sustainable growth, long-term growth. First is investment in infrastructure, and it is not possible for private sector to build the country's infrastructure. Government will have to participate, and therefore fiscal space will have to be created for government to participate. And once they are able to bring about this fiscal discipline, and the fiscal deficit at 3% level, it will be possible for us government to also focus on infrastructure investment. That is going to be one of the most important aspects, and therefore resolving the structural issues in the area of coal, power, roads is very important. Focus has to shift now on some of these big things. And the second area where I think government needs to focus is GST, and that has to happen sooner than later. If these two things are done, I think we will have a good pickup in the economy going forward.
All right, Mr. Deosthalee, appreciate your time and thank you for joining us. Bhushan Steel, why would anyone buy that? But that one is locked up for the second day on the trot, and look at the volumes. 500,000 shares. 500,000 shares is about 5 lakh shares. It's locked up and volumes have seen a huge bump up.